Hello and welcome to Number Talk. Today we're looking at the expression 14 times 9. How a Number Talk works is you use mental math to try to solve this expression, no paper, no pencil, and keep track of the strategy that you use to figure it out. Because in just a moment we're going to look at a whole bunch of different ways to figure this out mentally. But before we go any farther, let's go ahead and pause the video, solve this problem in your head, keep track of that strategy. When you have your answer, unpause the video, and we'll look at all the different ways we can solve 14 times 9. So many of us probably started here with the distributive property. And so what the distributive property does is it lets us break apart one of our factors. So you notice I took my 14 and I broke it in half. I said really it's 7 plus 7. Then I'm going to distribute, or I'm going to multiply that 9, which I still need to, by both of those addends. So this is what it looks like. Instead of 14 times 9, I'm going to take my 7 times 9. That's easy, that's 63. And I'm going to take another 7 times 9. That's another 63. And add those together. Well, that's easy, that's 126. So hopefully you got your answer of 126. Another way we could do it is the distributive property, but instead of taking that 14 and cutting it in half, we can cut it in half. We can cut it into parts using place value. So some of you might have said that 14, that's really a 10 plus 4. So that's using the expanded form. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to distribute that 9. We're going to multiply it out by both addends. But it's going to look a little bit different. Now we're going to do 10 times 9. So that's 90. And then we're going to take this 4, multiply that by 9, and that's 36. Now we're still going to get our same answer, 126, but you notice that our partial products are slightly different. So another way we can do this is compensation. Anytime you have one of your factors that's 8 or 9, I would definitely try compensation. Let me show you how it works. We're going to take our 14, and instead of multiplying it by 9, because that's kind of weird, we don't know our 9's up to 14. We know our 9's up to 12, but not really past that. We're going to multiply it by 10. Oh, that's easy. That's 140. So all the way down here, I added 1. I changed this 9 to a 10, so I've got 140. But it's not really 140. Because, remember, I put an extra set of 14 in there. I changed my 9 to a 10, so I've got to get rid of one of those 14s. So I'm still going to get 140. I got to take away that 14. I'm still going to get my 126, but that's just a different way to solve this problem. Sometimes we can use the associative property. This is the grouping property. So I'm going to take my 14 times 9. And I'm going to break apart my 14, and I'm going to say, you know what, that's really just 2 times 7, which it is. So now I've got 3 different factors, and you can use the associative property when you're multiplying if you have 3 different factors or more. With addition, you could do it if you have 3 or more addends. And all it lets you do is it lets you change the grouping. So instead of 2 groups of 7 times 9, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to say, you know what, I'm going to shift those parentheses over. I want to do 7 groups of 9. And that's what I have here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've got 7 groups of 9. That's easy. That's 63. And here's another 63 because I've got 2 rows of that. I got my 63 and 63, and that's still going to get me my 126. So that's the associative property. We can also use the associative property this way. So we're going to take our 14 times 9. But this time, instead of breaking up the 14 into the 2 and 7, we're going to break up our 9. And that's going to be 3 times 3. So let's shift the parentheses. Let's shift the grouping. Let's say, you know what, it's going to be 14 times 3 times 3. So I'm going to shift the parentheses, so I'm going to keep the 14 and 3 together. The commutative property lets me switch the order. So really, I've got 2 different terms here, and I want to switch the order. I want 3 groups and then 14 times 3. But you see how I've got that? I don't really want to draw 14 sets of 3. I'm going to use the commutative property again. So this is double commutative. I just want to go ahead and switch it and make 3 groups of 14. And that's what we have pictured here. That's why we have a grid of 3 by 3. So I've got 1, 2, 3 groups of 14. So 2 14s is going to get me 28. And then I'm going to get 42 if I get 3 14s. And now I've got 3 of those groups right there. So I've got 42, 42, 42. And guess what that gets me? 126. So these are just a few ways that we can solve 14 times 9. If you found another way, that's fantastic. Go ahead and drop that as a comment on this video. Teachers, if you want to copy this slide deck for your own use, you can find it on my website, 5minutemath.net.